down. Alrighty. Okay, welcome everyone to Witch Bitch, where we talk the real tea. And today we have Mandy on again. So exciting. We always have such incredible conversations, and I don't know, I really feel a lot more connected leaving our talks. So I know that the audience would agree. So, yeah. Um, Today's topic, you actually chose, Mandy, which is something we haven't really done many times. Have we done that before?
Yeah, but
It,
very rarely.
yeah, we don't do it very often just because usually when I ask our guests, do you have any um, topics that you want to talk about? Usually it's like, no, I'm happy for you to choose. And I don't know, I love it when I go into the conversation when I'm not the decider of the topic because I don't
You
have
love that.
any because I don't have any idea of what I'm going to talk about. It's just completely unfolding.
Yeah.
So, yeah, why don't you introduce the topic today?
Awesome. Yeah. Um, I felt like it was important for people to understand, if they don't already, the connection with the planet and their physical body, and how and clear and how necessary it is and important it is to actually clear the vessel, the cellular, of the memory that is connected also to the planet. um, Also about fragmentations and aspects of self, and what we're really doing about holding, bringing ourselves into wholeness, really repairing and bringing back
Yeah.
those different
Wow.
aspects, and parts of us that are stuck in timelines, which there's question around timeline exactly, so we can sort of discuss that a wee bit too. But yeah.
This is amazing. This is what I need to talk about. Like you just knew because I'm kind of going through um when you talk about fragmented self and like the fragments,
Yeah, I feel pretty fragmented at the moment.
I
Yeah.
have never felt this like I've always known, oh, there's different aspects of me, but it's kind of there's been a symbiosis.
Like a thread running through.
Yeah, but not anymore. I don't know what is going on. Every moment I actually feel the choice to be who I am. So it's very odd
Mm.
and it's kind of trippy, but
Yeah.
for example, when I'm at work, I'm kind of a different person because I choose the things that I need to be for that environment. And then when I'm at home, I'm a different version of myself. And when I'm, it's like I get to choose.
Mm.
And
Yeah, me too. I'm like that too.
sometimes dissociative because they don't always blend together. And it can be kind of
Well,
like,
it's like if you think of a scale, there's, you know, parts of you on the scale,
Yeah.
and when you're at work, you might be this end of the scale, and then you have to travel all the way to the other end of the
yeah,
scale when you get home. So
Mm,
there could be some distance in between the parts of yourself
yeah.
that you have to conjure up to present to the world to be in that environment with those
mm.
types of people.
Mm.
And
It's,
so it's, yeah, it can be very kind of like hard to balance yourself when you have to go from one end to the other.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and I do remember doing that. I don't do that anymore. I'm just who I am in the moment with everything and wherever I am really, and whatever group or yeah
So, Mandy, do
environment.
you think the reason we're experiencing this is to bring us back from like the distance
Yeah,
from that
absolutely.
to
Yeah,
this and
because
being
what
who we are?
yeah, because what happens when you're doing that is you're trying to fit in. You're adjusting yourself to fit the environment you're going into.
Yeah, sometimes it feels like a bit of a survival technique.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and that's definitely it. Pick your battles in the sense
Yeah.
of that, be discerning around how much you can speak out in certain groups and how much you can't. Sometimes it's better just to be quiet if you feel that's not the right place, and
Mm.
that's okay. But what you're not doing is you're not saying things that aren't actually who you really believe you are and fit your integrity within yourself even,
Mm.
to suit that group or that environment. So you're not speaking distruth
Yeah.
or untruth for yourself,
Yeah.
so you're staying in your own integrity even by just being quiet.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But sometimes I find that staying quiet can be like, can expel a lot more energy
Mm.
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
feel so much more uncomfortable than
Yeah.
actually saying something.
Yeah.
But there are certain situations where saying something would be detrimental, would have detrimental outcomes
Yeah.
that could impact your life and your family's life. Because as a mum, I have a responsibility to my children,
Yeah.
Yeah.
um, so that, I'm not rocking the boat in certain
Mm,
areas of my life that I need to protect,
yeah.
because certain things are more important, like financial. If you're at work, you can't pick fights with people all the time,
No.
or necessarily say what you believe to be the truth,
Yeah.
because it may be too confronting. And
Mm,
then those relationships that you need to maintain on a weekly basis are strained.
yes.
Mm,
Those even when we're sitting in that silence, um, those those times, like I used to feel like I'd come away and in my head I'd be having the conversation. If it was an argument, it was going to be an argument in my head about what I should have said, and I could have said it like this and that. And you go in there and you start telling all the story. I'm sitting more now in the space where I don't have to engage in that. There's no reason for me to, in the respect of trying to get them to see the way I see it.
Yeah.
yeah,
See that, am I trying to change their view of
yeah,
what they
right.
believe and who they believe they are? It's like now I suppose it's sitting more in, and it's not always, I do flick in and out, but I'm more in that neutral space of observer and seeing and compassionately seeing where they are and what their story is, where they're actually at on their journey. And
Yeah,
so
right.
therefore I don't have this requirement now that's trying to talk everybody into seeing it the way I see it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So it's that does change.
yeah,
Mm.
You just see that it's actually what you feel you might want to say is, I sort of sit back now and go, well, what is the intention behind me wanting to say that to them? Is it because I want to change their view, or
yeah.
you know be
It's
right
not
about something?
for
That
me.
sort of
Yeah,
thing.
I relate 100% with what you're saying, because I did feel in 2020, I did feel this urgency to to wake people up,
Yeah, yeah,
and to be the right fighter.
me too.
Yeah, and I've had an element of that in myself throughout my life, actually.
Yeah, same.
But after that, like, I realized I had a growth and in myself, and I
Yeah,
realized that's probably not a great thing to do, and it's not my job or my responsibility or my place
yes,
to interfere with people's journey.
yeah,
Mm.
Um, and so that took away a lot of that feeling of urgency and that
yeah,
feeling that I wanted to change people,
mm-hmm.
or it change their minds about
Yes,
things. Now it's more like there'll be a conversation going on. Like, this is a real example. There was a conversation going on about, I don't know, it was something to do with world politics and finances and things like that. There was like
mm-hmm.
this debate going on in front of me, and it was getting quite heated. Actually, it was getting really, on one side, it was getting very heated,
Yeah,
and I said something um, that was true for me, and then the person who was getting really heated um, turned turned the anger onto me,
yeah,
and then it carried on after that for days. Every time I saw this person, there was a comment made,
yeah,
and I sort of, that was like the universe saying to me, "See, Claudia, like." Don't get involved.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't get involved. You
Yeah.
don't. You don't.
My work is the same.
Yeah.
I love the people that I work with,
Yeah.
but it's a very 3D
Mm,
environment,
Yeah.
and it's ezy to forget that the 5D there,
yes.
to be completely honest.
I
And
know. Mm.
literally, one mistake will turn into an inside joke that lasts months.
Yeah.
And you
Right.
just, and it just doesn't end. And like how you were saying, like it lasted days and they would make
Yeah.
comments. It's
Yeah.
like that, but
Yeah.
with anything that anyone does. It's like if you fall over, or if you make a mistake, if you break glasses, or and it is more lighthearted than your example, but
Yeah. This person was cutting. Like,
yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
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 but
And
people
that's that wanting to be right.
Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
Yes. And this person that I'm speaking about, um, she says to people that she was studying law and she was a barrister or something.
oh yeah,
And
you've got a good opinion when you've got to defend it with your
yeah, like, and I
Back it
like,
up
and
with
then
your credentials here.
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, and but it doesn't fit with the situation that we're in now. Like, it's so
Yeah.
far, like, our reality now is so far removed, and you wouldn't, like, if you met her, you wouldn't think that,
Yeah.
and you would never put her in that career, right?
Yeah.
Not saying that that's not true, but
Yes.
the reality now in her life is so much more removed, so far from that.
Yeah.
But it's like she's constantly trying to prove that she's smarter than everyone and that she's,
Yeah.
yeah, and that she has
That's
a higher
tiring.
position.
Yeah.
And like her, the change in her circumstance isn't sitting well with her, and so she has to go around
Yeah.
making everyone
Right.
think,
Because she's judging herself.
yes,
Totally.
She's
yes.
judging herself.
And so when she does it, I was like, universe, you taught me the lesson. I'm not going to go there again. And I just let it slide.
Yeah.
Just let it slide. It
Yeah.
doesn't really bother me anymore because I see her for who she is.
Yes. And when if you think vibration energy, vibration and frequency, those people say, and I never ever like talking about levels, higher level, I'm on this level and they're on that, Um,
Yes.
it's all frequency and we're all at the same place, but we just
Yes.
manage it differently, really. That's the way I see it. And so,
Yes.
um, and in saying that too, I do know that when I was in my denser emotional states, I was vibrating at a denser space for sure.
Yes. That's a
To
great way of putting it, is that the density of it.
yes,
It's not a level.
no,
It's like the
it's like
vibration
having
is,
shit in the pipe that you can't quite get through. That's not going to flow. Everything's not going to flow properly.
yes.
So as soon as we start clearing it out, we've got that flow and things start, you lift. It's like a lifting and a
Yeah.
lightening up. So when we're, say, in the flow and in that lighter space, and we have that truth that's truth for us, whatever that might be, and always it's never going to fit everyone.
Hmm.
So there's always going to be those who come through that are thinking differently, seeing it differently. But what happens and what I've experienced many, many, many times is that they do not hear your words. They do not see it from where they're standing because they can't.
Yeah.
There's too much shit in the pipe.
Yep.
So this clear view here isn't visible to them because they're not seeing it from the place that you're seeing it, and
Yeah.
and experiencing it, feeling it vibrationally, everything. It's different. So I've learnt that sometimes I get these really strong feelings that, whoa, just don't even go there. These people are never going to see it. Like, you just won't. So just don't even do it. And then there's other times I might think, oh, yeah. And I might say some little thing just as a test to see where they come from with it. And instantly their response will tell me, nah, zip it up, just leave it there, because they're
Yeah.
never going to get it. And not at that moment. They might later on, and sometimes it is a planting seed. and they might ponder and go away. That's if they're open to looking at something differently or observing it in a different way, you know. But if they're not, and you feel they're closed down to what you're even trying to suggest, then just leave it there, because they will not see it where you stand from.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
so true.
it's just a wasted energy in many ways. Some,
Mm,
if they're a wee bit open, which I've got many friends who are open to hearing and listening, they might not understand it and have said to me, look, I probably can't have a conversation with you about it because I don't know, but I'm open to learning. So therefore you can have a bit of a convo, and there might be some questions coming from them to get them, for them to try and understand it. Um, and that there is planting seed. They're going to go away and assess that for themselves and see where that fits for them. You know, they might throw half of it out and might keep one
yeah,
tiny fraction, but that fraction will open the door for more, you know, and it
yeah.
just gets wider and wider if they still stay open to it. So yeah, I've learned to gauge where people are at and where I want to put my energy, really,
Yeah, of
you
course. And
know.
I think when you're having discussions with people who can't see the clarity
Yeah.
of your argument, um, it's a mirror. I mean,
Mm,
because we were all that person,
Yes.
right? We were all the
Yes.
person. I mean, I know I was. I was
yeah, me too.
definitely someone who would. I've always been quite an open person, but there's definitely been times where I've closed off to someone's argument based on my judgment, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or
And
you're just not ready.
or I'm just not
You
ready.
just
Yeah,
can't because you're
Yeah.
not ready.
usually I'm not ready because of the judgment of what they're
Yeah,
saying.
right.
That's
Um,
right, Julia. And
yeah,
that creates this big barrier that you're already putting up, going, not
yeah.
interested.
And you know
Yeah.
what else? They're judging themselves the same way. And that's really where the blockage comes from. I mean, you're not you can never judge another person. It's all you, you know? Um
Absolutely.
and whenever like something that I really try and embody is whenever I feel a trigger, particularly from a person,
Yeah.
um, like because you know triggers come from everywhere, but from a person in my physical reality,
Yeah.
um, I always ask myself, maybe in the moment, maybe leaving and taking time, but I always ask myself, where is this in me? Like, what
Mm,
is this in myself that is
Absolutely.
get like that you know I'm
Yeah.
judging or that I'm rejecting, because I've had some recent experiences where my friends have really deeply triggered me, like
Mhm.
really deep stuff, like honestly wanting to like leave their presence, you know, like needing space, which isn't something that usually happens for me. I'm a very tolerant person when it comes to my friends, and I always want to hang out with them as much as I can. I want to
Yeah.
suffocate them with my energy. So
Yeah.
you know, I think it was a very interesting experience of being like, whoa, that's a really deep wound there. Where is that coming from? And you learn a lot about yourself. It's really hard. And you know how we were saying, like the judgment is what blocks. It
Yeah.
really is. Like I'm in a time in my life where I feel like I actually had a vision as you were talking, like a picture in my mind of what it
Mhm.
looks like, and it's like, you know how life is always a spiral. I was thinking of like a pipe but with barriers in it, like
mm,
almost like
Yes. Those slot bits.
yeah,
Yeah.
like slots that
That-
block it. And
Mhm.
yeah, and you come to Earth with already slots in place in certain places because they're your contracts, they're what you have to heal. But other blockages are there because of trauma and
yeah.
things like that.
Mm.
And I feel like I'm at a new barrier, you know, that I can't quite, like, I haven't been able to get past yet. And it's because of judgment. I mean, judgment is such a potent.
Yeah.
I think that's why it's pushed.
Barrier.
Yeah, I think that's why it's pushed on humans so much, you know, in
It
society.
is.
Like, yeah,
Because it works.
yeah,
Well, it does. And it comes from that separation space,
Yeah.
which is, the death row. So if we look at the situation now, say where we've come in and we are in a separation pattern. So when we birthed and we came into such a dense environment that it was just shut off to us. and
Mm.
our knowing of who we really were was shut off because that memory was in the higher frequencies. And so when we shut in and we came in here, it's all about you, me, them, us, separation. It's not about a unity and unified field at all and oneness. It's definitely separation. And therefore that creates competition, and that creates the judgment about everyone else and yourself.
Yeah.
You start looking and comparing in competition to others, and so therefore the judgments all start coming in, and then you're turning it all on you because you're not comparing to them. And so what that does is that creates the vessel to become blocked. And
Mm.
so what it does also, when we've infused our body with the cellular blueprint, when we birth in and we take that first breath, we infuse the cells with the cellular blueprint of our soul, which is the journey that it's always had, and it for its whole existence, whatever that soul's journey has been. Whether you've been a tree, you can go in and feel into that and bring the memory up of being the tree or the caterpillar or whatever it might have been. Not just human, physical form. We've been all sorts. And so when we have those memories, they create the patterning that we rerun. And all I can say to people oftentimes is that we just came in here actually to experience being in this form. And
Yeah.
this form is the planet. We have the same makeup as our planet does. And so, therefore, when we move something in this body and we shift something out of that memory, which is painful usually, and that's what's blocking the pipe, then what we're doing is we're actually helping our planet, our beautiful Mother Earth, if we want to call her that, Gaia. Sort of, I've only just got to feel comfortable with the word and the name Gaia for her. But when we move this in here, we're actually shifting it on the planet and through her body as well, and helping her to release the trauma that we've created through our journeys with her. And, just my name, Mandy, I do word things. Like words separate up and I see them quite differently to how we might express them through speaking even. But Mandy, if I separate that up, it's Mandai. And I knew that my path here was to create the death of the man, the human man that we perceive ourselves to be, and bring more of that higher awareness in, and connect more to all, not just this planet, but every single thing. And so when we release something here, we're helping her to move through her trauma. What we're doing also is that we are part of her body. So if you think about too, and this is something really that I've been trying to get people to really look at lately, is that because what I'm seeing, what I've always seen, is how we move outside of self to do anything, to like that, compare ourself with something. We have an image of something outside of us that we're comparing self with.
Mm.
When we take away the judgment, we come into just experiencing, and experiencing being in this human form. That's it completely. That's all we came in to do. But because we have the cellular memory and the body gets infused with that, we start rerunning and recycling and regurgitating everything we've already done prior. This is the end of the line. This lifetime is the end of the line for all of that. For many, not everyone, but many. And so when we've moved out of all of that cellular memory, we then have the body that is ready for the light to come through it and infuse the DNA, which changes the coding within our program, which instantly heals our body. We then have no more memory left in our body. We don't have the pain. We don't have the recycling of the same stuff. We've moved completely into a new space, and our body becomes more heightened in the higher frequencies, yes, and that's the other thing where people are sort of, I feel like there's this competition about how high am I in this
Yeah.
vibration now, and what dimension do I connect with, and all of that stuff. It just outside of self again, it keeps bringing us outside. um So, what we're here to do is help this planet move through her body and release the pain, the trauma, and the memory that she has of places within her body, the same as we.
Mm.
So, yeah, we become a clearer vessel. We start becoming magical, more magical in the sense, and I know that sounds sort of woo woo ish, but it is that we have abilities that we are certainly not using a lot of here. And this is where I get excited because I love these abilities and testing them out and seeing what we can actually do. But in saying that, too, what we're also doing when we're clearing this form, what we're doing is we're moving into the so called timelines. And if we, for me, I had to have the timelines and time to be able to connect my mental, my humanness to the story that I was relaying in my body when I'm discovering memory, right? So we talk about past life, but everything is really in this now moment, which I know is trippy and it's hard to get that sort of concept to think of everything being right now. But once you move yourself into the now moment more and more, and you're sitting in that center space where you are in a neutral observer and in the quantum field of one, then what happens is you become one with everything and everything is one with you. So there is no distortion and there's no, you wouldn't have allergy to staff because why would you? It's your allergies to you. If you've got allergy, what are you allergic to you about? So everything comes back to you. Bowel disease, well, what sort of shit are you holding on to? It's all that sort of thing. So when you start clearing that out and you become more this light field, then you're actually switching into a brand new space of creating from. It's not through the wounding, through the memory, through all of that stuff. But at the moment, lots and lots of people are getting triggered to go back into their memory to really restore the body because those memories held in the cells are creating illness and disease. So the blood sends out a chemical, it shuts down the receptors on the cells when we store a memory in the body, an experience. And so that cell dies, throws the memory into the next cell. The same process happens. Blood sends a chemical, shuts down the receptors, and the cells only live by communicating. And so that's how it rolls. And then you end up with a dead cell area where you're going to create a cancer tumor or diabetes or bung eyes or whatever it might be. And so when you go in and retrieve memory, work on the emotion of them and clear them out, your body restores and renews. So you grow new cells. You start growing younger because you are not deteriorating. You're not in the separation cycle anymore of death and decay. That's what we're in. When we're in this human 3D state, we're in the death and decay cycle. So we've got this thing of, yeah, we're getting into 70, so therefore my body's going to start crapping out now, and I'm going to need a wheelchair by the time I'm 80, and all of that stuff. Whereas if we start clearing out, we get that cleared out, our body's renewing itself all the time, and you're not aging and deteriorating. There is no death. There doesn't have to be a death cycle. So yeah, and the fragmented. Oh, do you anything before
I'm
we
I'm vibing with
go?
what you're saying because as you were speaking, I was thinking to myself, I want to ask Mandy, is the act of remembering part of the process of clearing? And you just answered it. Because what happens for me, I've noticed over the past few years, what happens for me is it's like a bubble pops in my brain
Yeah,
and a memory comes from my past in
yeah,
this lifetime. And I think to myself, and it's usually when I'm kind of doing something mundane,
yeah,
and it's almost like a meditation where my brain is kind of switched off a little bit
yeah.
and I'm in the act of doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in my body, I'm present, and I'm all of a sudden this memory will pop into my brain
Yes. Yeah.
and I'll go, oh, where is that coming from? And it will continually pop in my head. It'll come back and
Yeah.
come back and come back on different occasions until I address it. And the one that's coming up for me, I think I've mentioned it to you recently, is this one of me when I was about between 8 and 10. And I was at my girlfriend's house. We were at the pool and in her backyard.
Yeah.
And up until that point, I was in the experience of life, completely in the experience of life. I was never looking in the mirror and judging myself ever.
Mm.
And this little kid, her cousin, I think it was, this boy, when I was jumping into the pool, he looked at me and commented on my body, and the word fat came out of his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And it hit me like a lightning bolt. And all of a sudden, I wasn't in my body anymore. I was looking at myself, judging myself.
Mm-hmm.
And from that moment on, that's how I viewed myself from then.
Yeah.
And I made a choice. Like I've all my life I've thought, oh, that boy was so mean. And it was very mean.
Yeah.
But I made a choice in that moment to jump out of my body and judge myself because of his words.
Yeah.
But I never understood that until recently, when I started to become very, very observant of the choices that I've made. And I've spent time in my body healing myself to a point where I could actually see what I had done, seen the choice that I made, and forgive myself for that.
Yeah.
And saw my part to play in that experience, because that experience started something in my life that was extremely painful and destructive.
That's right. It crystallized the emotional pattern that then you started playing out more and more and more.
You know, one thing, first of all, as you were talking, I thought to share this book. It's reverse, but it's The Secret Language of Your Body.
Yeah.
If you're in Australia, you can get this at Big W, I believe also Kmart, but it's a wonderful book. It's by The Secret Language of Your Body by Inna Siegel.
Yes.
And it is incredible. One time, I really hurt my toe. I stubbed it really, really hard, and I basically broke it. I think I did break it, but I'm not sure. And so I looked in this book, and oh my God, it was so on point with what I was going through. And it gives you insight to your body. It allows you to receive messages, because it basically, any ailment, any soreness, could literally just be an ache in your shoulder or something. You can look, it has like a whole dictionary on every single part of your body, and if you're experiencing pain, it will tell you you're experiencing pain because of connection with family, or this is the thing to work on, this is why this pain here is coming up, this is what this body means. And I don't know, I think at first I was a little bit apprehensive. I'm like, but aren't all bodies different? Aren't all bodies trying to say different things? But I've used it a couple times, and it really does resonate with me. So I would suggest, I mean, I wouldn't be, sharing this if I didn't think
I've actually met Ina. I hosted her when she came out to New Zealand. Yeah, and have that very book she gifted to me for doing that. The parts of the body, I actually, in running a cellular memory workshops around the country, I started taking notice of where these memories were coming up in bodies and what the emotion was connected to them in all of the groups that I was running. And Louise Hayes always had an amazing book out called Heal Your Life, and that's exactly the same as Ina's. Which there's difference in them, of course, they're both valuable. And what I did notice is the areas were right. It's like those parts of the body actually store those types of emotion, but the story for everyone's different.
Yeah.
The experience has been different, similar but different. Yeah.
Well, because we all have a body, don't we? We all have shoulders.
Yes.
We all have knees. We all have elbows.
Some people don't. but
no, but the majority.
for most,
But
yeah.
the
Yeah.
human body, even when it is born or is missing a piece because of an accident or whatever, that
Still
is
holds
missing
memory.
for a reason, because
Mm.
it's supposed to be there. Like,
Yes,
we're supposed to have two knees and be able to walk on the floor.
exactly.
If you're
The
born without a
blueprint of
knee,
it
then
is
that
still
says
there.
something in itself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I have a
Yes.
friend who lost his arm at 17. He's ploughed into a concrete um, power pole or light post um, on his motorbike and lost his arm. It just wasn't working right from that point on. And he told the doctor, "Chop it off. What's the point of having it when it doesn't work?" And then he put it in his freezer and used to take it to parties. I mean, hey, he's a bit sick. But anyways, funny as he's funny as. But he still gets phantom pain and feels like his arm's still there and he can feel the pain of
Yeah.
that. You know, yeah. Um,
It's wild how that works. I
oh,
mean, and
totally.
another thing that I wanted to put out there, because as you're talking about cell regeneration and all the things about cell, um, it's 4 years. So 4 years from now, from this day, every single cell in your body is different. Like you're a whole new cell body. Like everything, you're a new body. Your body has regenerated completely, which to me says if I worked hard enough on my intention and I focused on it every day for that 4 years,
Hmm.
if I wanted to look different, absolutely you could. Or if you wanted, say you wanted better health, let's put it in a better example. Like say you wanted to
Yes,
improve a certain part of your health in your body, work on it every week even just for 4 years and see
exactly.
what happens,
Yeah.
you know?
Mm.
I used to perm my hair all the time, right? And I had the Farrah Fawcett thing. That was my look when I was younger. And I got sick of perming because I'd do it all myself because I just don't trust hairdressers after being a hairdresser. um, and then I decided not perming it anymore. I'm just going to will it to be wavy and do its thing. And that's
Wow.
it. And so you can, and when I did this, I was actually running a centre then, and this one woman came in and she said, "Mandy, your hair's changing." I said, "Yeah." And I told them all at the group that day what I'd been doing. And she said, "Oh my God, I'm going to do that with my colour. It's going grey and I would like it back to my normal colour." So she started doing that 3 months or something down the track because I only ran it every month. She came in, half of her head had changed colour, and I said to her, "Oh my God, you're doing it." She said, "Yes, but look." And it was this half still grey and that half? So she'd obviously been paying more attention to one side, but it was proof in the pudding that it was actually working.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I
it's pretty incredible. And all you need to do is put an intention in, honestly.
Yes.
Once the triggers of it though have been removed, once you've worked on those, and I mean, it's easy to reprogram. Absolutely
Mm.
reprogram anything like we can do with water. I've said it before. Just
Yeah.
reprogram the water that you're drinking. If everyone's on about putting all these chemicals in everything, and the chemicals in the sky, and yes, they are. There's no denying that. There's so much proof of it all. But you are a magnificently powerful being, and you can change that at
Mm.
Yeah.
any point with your intention, your energetically go and neutralize the skies, neutralize your water, and reprogram it to whatever you feel you might need. I just say to my body, if I'm feeling really like exhausted, and I have been for maybe a week, and it's I've checked emotion or whatever, it's nothing there. I sort of feel like, okay, what is it that my body might need? And if it's iron, then I just ask it to alter itself and balance itself in iron, balance itself in whatever I might need. And it just
Mm.
does.
So
I,
if
I
you think about it, we live in a world of polarity. And so if the thing can happen, if the thing can be possible,
yeah,
um, like the chemicals in the sky is possible, and diabetes is possible. Like, you can get diabetes, you
yeah,
can get grey hair.
Yeah,
If that is true,
then
then
you can
the
also
opposite must be true because we
it's
live in a world of polarity. So if something is grey and it's turned grey, but it once was brown, you
wow.
must be able to turn it back.
totally,
Yeah, that's a really
absolutely.
good way of putting that. I
Yeah.
mean, I have a personal example. So a few years ago, I had some issues with my teeth,
Mm.
and I went to the dentist, and I don't know, they just weren't in great condition because I have, for some reason, a lot of fear and phobia around the dentist and
Yeah,
around just my teeth and my mouth in general. I think there's something to be explored.
Yeah.
But as a child, I don't remember, there was nothing that triggered it. It was just like automatically as I came into this world, anyone touching my teeth was terrifying. Food was even terrifying.
Yeah.
Um, and it
ah,
got to a point where I had to deal with my teeth, and I went to the dentist, and there was quite a few issues. And this was at the time of like the beginning of my awakening, and I was learning about what you're saying, Mandy, around how you have the power to heal your body. You have the power to do it. And I started putting intention, healing the trauma that I felt. So I'm no longer scared of food or the dentist. Um, I'm actually curious as to why it even began in the first place, but
there'll be a
I feel,
past life experience somewhere there. Yeah,
yeah, probably.
Mm. And a
That's,
generational trauma too, because I had it as well.
yeah,
yeah, so,
passed down. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
and fast forward 2 years, 3 years to now, I went back to the dentist a few months ago, and she was
She was
shocked.
floored.
She was floored, and she gave me compliments on my teeth. She was like, and she
Wow,
was like,
cool.
I never give my clients, you know, what did she say?
Compliments.
Compliments.
Yeah,
She said, I never ever say it, but you've done a really good job. And I was
Looking
like,
after your teeth, and
of
yeah,
restoring them.
yeah,
Yeah,
she turned it all around for herself.
yeah.
yeah, that's
And it's,
amazing.
yeah, and now I look at my teeth and I'm like, wow, I'm really proud of myself. And anytime, because it is something that at this stage in my life, maybe down the road I won't have to put focus on, but I still put focus on it.
Yeah,
Because when I don't put focus on it for a month or so, I'll feel, oh, okay, I need to,
Yeah.
ramp it up
up
again.
the
Yeah,
intention again. But now within a week of just saying nice words, of putting extra care into it,
yeah.
it it feels so much better after a week, after a few
Mm,
days. And I
Mm.
think that is a testament to the power and the symbiosis that we have with our bodies that we've forgotten.
yeah,
Mm.
Because, you know, it's so easy
totally.
to think your body an enemy, or I mean, I know I'm clearing a lot of anger at my body right now
Yeah.
because anytime that something isn't normal in your body, you feel
Cheated.
betrayed
Yeah.
and cheated and alone as well.
Yeah,
And a lot of anger comes with that. But as you clear it and you open to your body and you choose to love it and actually listen to it as to
hmm,
why it's producing a wound instead of creating the story, because I think what happens is, for example, with sickness, you get sick, and then you build a story of, oh, how could you do this to me, body? Oh, this is like,
I
why
hate being
I
sick.
hate being sick. Or,
Yeah.
yeah,
maybe it's maybe then it becomes a long-term thing where you have to go through treatment, go through the medical route, hurt your body more in a lot of ways,
yes,
because you build this story over it, when really maybe your body's being sick just to tell you, hey, I need you to heal this part of me. Maybe that's what the body's
absolutely,
trying to
totally.
tell us. And
It is,
instead of, yeah, and it can be healed like that. It doesn't have to
totally.
be a whole story.
No, you will always have story because with the emotion that comes up, it's going to trigger memory, which then creates a bit of a story. And you might
Yeah.
not really know what the memory is, but the story might start telling you a bit about that, like
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
fear of dentists and things is there's a story there. There's something back further, and like it could be like Claudia was saying about being intergenerational, which then you track back. And I just want to put a little pump out here of my book, which gives you all the tools to be able to track back through your generations and into your family ancestry and clear the patterning and the stuff that's come through.
Yeah.
When I broke my two toes, we know, like, my thing's been broken bones all my life. And and I think I've said this, I might not have said this on this platform, but when I went into why do I break my bones, like I've had 17 odd broken bones throughout my
Wow.
life.
Holy
And
cow.
and when I did go into that, because there's a secondary gain. We've talked about that before, where there's a secondary gain about everything that you have. So you might have the broken bones, but what's the gain in it? Why do I do that? And so when I did go into that, it was a huge change for me. Big aha was that when I broke a bone as a child, my brother left me alone from bullying me. So it was my way out of having some peace, quiet, and oh my God, he's not going to hassle me while I've got this broken bone. So then I'd repair that, everything would be sweet, and a few months later I'd break another bone. They were arms then, and collarbones and skulls and also, oh my God. But anyway, that was my way. And then when I went into relationship later on, and these men were doing the same type of thing, then I'd break a leg, smash a leg, and I'd be, so it just continued until I realized what I was doing. The last time I broke bones was two toes, and that was my own rant. It wasn't about somebody else this time, but it was my own rant around everybody cross fingers saying that 2012 wasn't an end of the world. It was just a change of frequency, yet all these teachers and spurry people that were saying that had their fingers crossed behind their back, like they didn't actually really believe that or know that in a deep way that this was actually what was happening. They were just like, oh my God, I hope it's not the end of the world, that
Yeah.
sort of thing. And that really, oh God, it triggered me. And I just thought, do you not realize the frequency that you're putting out? And that fear and that frequency is maybe going to hold us up from moving where this is all trying to take us. And I was just frustrated. I was having a rant, and I smashed two toes. On my right side, which is my masculine. So it was my masculine doing the big tanty and, rant and ego, of course. And not allowing them to be where they are meant to be and what they were into at that point in time. So judging. Anyway, so I went into the process of repairing the bones, and I did that. I repaired those two toes in a process which I put in the book here. It's all how to do it. And students, I was running a development classes then, and my students saw my foot the day that it was smashed, and then the next day when I'd healed it had gone back to normal, other than the bruising. So I had witnesses as such. And it was like, oh my God, Mandy, and I said, well, this is what we teach, now you've seen it actually proven to you that this is what we can do. So when we have that ability, what we're realizing within that is that every single illness we have has been created by the memory and the story that we've run. And that once you come into the story and you find out what the story is, what the actual gain is behind it, why you run this, then you can clear it up, and you can clear that whole pattern of that, like you were saying, Claudia, about this one crystallizing that pattern. Then you go to this one here that'll break all this network down. And this is where when we talk about the fragmented parts, so we've had all these different experiences in life, and most times we've died horrifically. And I think for me, when I actually looked at why was I sort of afraid of death, I realized that because, I had quite an understanding about the other life, the afterlife.
Yeah, right.
Why would I be scared? Why am I afraid? And it wasn't actually about where I might go after and when I leave this form. It was about how I leave this form. And so we've had so many horrific times at death You look at history. And what we've also done is not knowing that we're creating these disgusting and horrifying illnesses that, watching my mother's journey into her passing, her body was absolutely munted. Like she just ate this thing away. And there were big cavities all through her body. Like it was just horrid, this cancer. And I sort of looked at her and I just cried in the respect that I wish she knew she didn't have to create that to move out of this form. That's what we do. It's like this whole or belief in the deterioration, and the way to get out is that. Whereas actually we don't. We can be as healthy and wealthy as we want to be, and then just go to sleep one night and move out of the body and don't ever come back into it if we're high enough aware. So we don't have to go through some debilitating, ugly thing to get there. And so when we have these horrific deaths, what we've done, the soul will move on. It reincarnates, it moves itself into other form. The spirit of the person from that lifetime is stuck in the ether. There's a timeline thing where they're stuck in, and what we're doing when we're bringing back those memories, and we're going, like we were talking, Claudia, the other day about shadow on Love Speaks, when we look into those memories, and Bev and I were saying the gold nuggets we've found in the shadow, and brought them through into this life and how we can use those here. That aspect of self comes back when we work on that memory, and that obviously fear because we're stuck there. Then we bring that fragmented part of self, that aspect of self, back to the soul, and this is why we're coming out of 3D healing into the higher dimensional wholing. We're becoming whole. And one of the things that I've been really sort of putting out there for people to try and grasp, because it's also spoken about ascension, and I've mentioned about how it's a descension, ascension. Our higher body is ascending, our physical form is ascending. We're clearing out that pipe, the vessel, to bring in higher frequency, which then is bringing it into higher frequency for this higher body to come in and descend rather. This is ascending, this is descending, and we're meeting here to bring it here. So with that, if you think about, and the ascension thing is almost talked about as though it's something outside of us. It's energy that's outside of us that's helping us to bring this into this higher frequency, which isn't actually correct, I don't feel. So anyone listening to this, take it or leave it. But it's maybe a seed we might be planting for you to look into this. But
I love this conversation.
yes,
So
and if you think about yourself being in the body of the great consciousness that is ascending.
Yeah, right.
You're in the body of that consciousness that's ascending. So every time somebody wakes, has another aha moment, rises a wee bit in their frequency and their awareness and consciousness, this body becomes more ascended.
Yeah.
And it's the same as the planet. We're doing the same. She's part of in the body also of the great consciousness that is ascending. So when you look at it like that, there's actually nothing we need to do, in the sense of we are already doing this. It's already happening. This frequency is in us. It's not outside of us affecting us here.
Yeah.
It's in us affecting that out there.
Yeah.
And so when you look at it like that, also the other thing that we've been told, I suppose, or it's been suggested, is that we come into with a purpose, and we come in with a mission, and we come in to serve. Now, when you think about and you really get the point of being in the body that is ascending, let and allow that to serve you. Let it serve you. So when we're in the reverse of that and we're ascending and we're here to serve, what we do is we start getting back into the 3D of I've got a purpose, I've got a mission, I've got to serve, I'm serving humanity, and blah blah blah, which is all beautiful, but it's actually the other way round. If we just get out of our way and allow this to serve us, we come into the flow of that oneness that is just bringing in and showing up everything that is in our highest for us.
Mm.
There's no interference from us. We're not trying to drive it or force it or be somewhere that we're not meant to be sort of heading into, because we're not in the mental. We're more in the feeling state of allowing and us getting out of our way for this to serve us. You know, when we have what we term to be the mission or the purpose, and we've put it into a business and we're wanting that to go somewhere, then get out of the friggin' way. Allow it to go there. Don't
Yeah.
drive it. Just let it serve you and bring in what you are requiring in that in its highest being.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like, well, first, I want to ask you a question, but I just want to say I think that's some real confirmation for us, because which bitch is that for both of us? I mean, this is our passion to share this
Yeah.
this message
Mhm.
of
Great
today,
platform. Yeah.
and so many more messages we want to spread so much to the world, and yeah, just allowing it. And one thing, I had a big moment the other day of, because there was a time where I really wanted to push, like,
Yeah.
force
That
it,
that
but
desire to more. It's like a greed
yeah, but
almost.
it's
Yeah.
not exciting. It
Mm.
doesn't excite me to push it.
It's
What does
effort.
excite me is to talk and to speak with you,
Yeah.
and to share this with other people.
The
Yeah.
moment of
On
this.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is what excites me, and also ancient mysteries also really excites me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think it's really important to just trust and allow things to unfold, because so many times in my life, I know, I've followed what my idea of success is, not what actual success is, which
Yes.
this is success, you
Yeah.
know,
Doing what you love
doing what I love,
and
Absolutely.
being
and
excited.
being able to hear this conversation, you know, like
Mm.
being able to receive these incredible messages,
And speak to people like you.
yes, this is the fucking success, you know?
I,
Like, it's
I
not a
totally get
number
that. Yeah.
of followers, or of you know, money that you're making, or
No.
anything like that. And I know there's you know, I'm saying this because I know that there is elements in this world that you do need that material success for, in some ways, but you can't have just that material thing. And that's what I don't like about hustle culture. I can't stand it,
Yeah.
because where's the soul, you know, when you're just focusing on a business idea
Yeah.
around, oh, this is going to be really successful. What about this stuff, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I
And
just,
you look at the corporations and the, you know, well, the elites. I mean, that's just totally been that hustle culture.
Yeah.
It's all about the more and more and more and more money,
yeah,
money, money.
it's
Power.
it's it's horrible to see. I feel sorry for them because they don't get this.
It's so
Well,
funny
it's
because every
depleting.
time have a conversation about this subject, um, they're called the 1%, right?
Yeah.
That's how I was
Yeah.
introduced to that idea of the
Yeah.
1%, and you want to be the 1%. But it's funny because the power is not in being in the 1%. The power is being
Yes.
in the 99%, because that's the greater number.
Why would you
Yeah.
ever want to be in the 1%?
No, you don't want to. I don't want to be
Yeah.
in that 1%, because that is not where the majority lies, and
No.
the power is with the majority, which is what I have since learned. And it never sat well with me, this idea of being in the 1% or striving for
Yes.
that. It's like being on the yellow brick road and going to the
Mm.
Wizard of Oz, right? And you pull the curtain back and there he is. He's like this little man pulling the
You know
levers.
what my favorite song is at the moment? Goodbye Yellow Brick Road by Elton
Oh,
John.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
right.
you go. I've been
Yeah.
listening to it non-stop.
Yeah. The Wizard of Oz is full of codes. If you guys out there watching
Mm.
are in the mood for some kind of like, information, or you want to be connected, watch The Wizard of Oz, because it's
Yeah.
full of codes. But
It's
yeah, that's just a side note. But
yeah.
what you were talking about, Mandy, I want to say, when you were talking about uh, um, us being in the body of the collective and the world being part of that, that reminded me of the movie. Well, it's a book as well. Horton Hears a Who,
Yes.
where the speck is on the flower, and then Horton is holding the flower, and Horton is in a world, and then
Mhm.
it's like,
It ends with Horton thinking, what if we're
yes,
somewhere, you know?
It's great, eh? I love it too.
yes,
Mm.
it is that concept of us being,
Oh, can I just say something to that?
yeah.
Because this is something that, we're in sync, because something that I wanted to say but I forgot about was this beautiful, I don't know, quote or something to think about, is that we're on Earth and we're sitting on Earth on our little speck, and we're circling around the sun. We're centering around the sun, kind of circling. We're centered to the sun, is what I mean. And then the sun is centered to our galaxy, and it's circling around our galaxy. And our galaxy is circling around the universe, and its focus is the center of the universe. So, really, when you think about it quantumly, we're spinning around the center of the universe right now.
Mm.
And what is the universe, spinning around? We don't know. So,
The
it's
black
like,
holes.
yeah.
Black holes.
Yeah.
Black holes fascinate me. They fascinate me because what's in there? What's in there?
Interstellar.
Yeah, those black
Yeah.
holes, man, they've got some mysteries. They've got secrets to
Yeah,
tell.
absolutely. And they
Yeah.
renew.
So,
They
I
I
wanted
think I see them as portals, actually, black holes.
Yeah, I think they're
Yeah.
real life portals too.
Mm.
Interstellar. If no one's watched Interstellar, if anyone hasn't
Oh,
watched,
that's incredible, eh?
watch it. It's amazing.
Mm.
So
But
there you go, guys. 3 movies:
Yes.
Wizard of Oz, Horton Hears a Who, and Interstellar.
yeah,
I also wanted to just mention too, I did not realize this until I saw this woman's interview. The woman who wrote, and I didn't even think about who might have written The Matrix and who might have written Terminator, but
Yep.
they go together. I didn't
Mhm.
realize that. So she had made these movies of the Terminator. She said this was her purpose in being here, was to bring these through. So the Terminator is about going into the future to help Sarah Connor, who brings in Neo. So because he's going to be eliminated, they're going to try and eliminate her and Neo so that he doesn't become who he is. And so the Terminator's all about that. And
Yeah,
then it
right.
goes into the Matrix when Neo's born and all the rest of it. But that just blew me away. I was like, oh my God, now I have to go and watch them all again, which I did. And it's interesting.
Yeah,
Very
they fit
interesting.
beautifully together, don't they?
oh
Yeah.
my god,
Mm.
I didn't know that.
No, I didn't either. It was a real shock. And this lady is, yeah, she's onto it, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, blew me away.
The Matrix
Yeah.
is my favorite film
Yeah.
of all
Yeah.
time.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's great,
I
eh?
watched it. I watched it the movies in '99, and I walked out of that. I was not awake. I had no clue what it was about. I walked out of that cinema a changed person, and I just, ever since, it's stuck with me
Yeah,
on a level that I didn't understand. And
yeah.
I didn't know why I loved it so much, but I really did, and it just stayed
oh,
brewing in me until
Yes.
2020. And then it was like boom.
oh, such a good film.
Yeah.
It is. It is. It pays to go back. I couldn't get the machine part of it for a bit. It was a bit over the top for me in respect to that. It was like, what the hell are those things about? It took me a minute to get it.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, we get it, don't we? And that's another thing, we're looking at technology. I mean, we have to move with technology really, because it is the future. It doesn't matter what we're going to do. Technology is a part of that, and we are becoming more AI ourselves in a
Yes.
Yes.
sense. You know, it's like we're becoming those computers, those very onto it, intelligent computers, really.
Yeah, one thing actually, I was listening to Joe Rogan's podcast,
Yeah.
favorite podcast by the way, and he was talking with someone about how we're already AI. I mean, think about it. We don't have anything in us,
Implanted.
but
Yeah.
what do you carry with you everywhere? You carry your phone, and it tells you what you have. You know, you've got your calendar, you've got your um, all your contacts. I mean, you're
It's an
still
extension of
partially,
us. Yes.
yeah, it is. And, you know, I think that isn't a scary thing unless we make it a scary thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, you can go
Everything's
to,
choice.
yes,
Everything
Totally.
is
and
choice.
like you're
Absolutely.
saying, yeah, and like you're saying, you know, with the polarity, I
Yeah.
mean, you can think about technology in a way of doom and gloom and we're all going to become robots, but
Yeah.
also you can think of it in a way of like, we're going to be like the Avengers and,
Mm.
you know, there's going to be like
The
an Iron Man.
superheroes.
Yeah, like, you know,
Yeah.
you can choose which way you want to go. And I think being scared of it is just, it's inevitable, like you said, Mandy. And,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, it's here.
yeah,
It
but
is here.
it's
Whether you
yeah,
like it or not, it's
yeah,
here.
yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
there are those, you know, already who are getting, I was just watching, you know, so not for me, but watching the operating on the brain, putting an implant in that is so
Yeah.
that, you know, it's all you are that phone now, you know, that sort of thing. But there's always going to be those people that choose to do that, which there already is. There's about 6 or so people that have done it now,
Yeah.
and it's growing. It'll grow because they think it's cool, and that's
Yeah.
okay. Whatever they feel is right for them, eh? But what I the other thing that I've been questioning is these med beds,
Oh yes.
you know, and
That
right
came up for me. Yep.
from day one, it was like, no, 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 don't go near them. And I just park things up, like you've heard me say before, until I get more information and I can make a sort of a more, you know, defining choice, I suppose, with information. But one of the things that for me is the reason behind that is that who are running that, right? So for me, that was always a thing. There's somebody behind this, as there always is with everything.
Yeah.
And I don't know who that is. They say it's Palladians, but I don't know that that's correct. So I'm not going anywhere near them. But anyway, the other point to me is that what this is, again, is something else that takes us outside of ourself and away from our own natural healing.
Yep.
And just listening to a guy the other day, Jason
Yes.
yeah, and he's created these medbed type. They're not a medbed. I don't want to call them that. They're a healing platform. But he was talking about the difference. He didn't mention medbed, but he was saying, you know, there's other things out there, and we all know what he was sort of meaning. Where they force the body. So this is what the medbed does. It's programming into the body what it wants you, what is, say the arm, say like my friend who lost his arm, so he gets on the bed and stem celled and then he's growing an arm, right? Which is what we can do. We can actually do that without the program of the machine. So therefore this machine is now actually forcing the body to do something that it's doing, you know, going to
Yeah.
do. This other bed that Jason's brought out is where it's the highest frequency that your body can go with, and then it allows your body is doing the work, and it's going from it's you healing at the highest possible place.
Yeah, it's a supportive mechanism
It's not,
rather than,
yes,
so
not
it's
forcing it.
working with the body and the intention
Yes,
rather than creating something because it's an outside intention. It's not
yes,
working with the body, it's
yeah.
forcing the body. That's what you're
So the
talking about.
frequency is you coming into your highest frequency, and your body
Mm,
is doing what it's going to do naturally in that
yes.
space. which for me is way better. That's the way that we're working within the body already if we just continue on that pathway. And
Yeah.
these, yes, are going to help and assist people, but I also see that, like, what the testimonials that were coming in is that that isn't holding for a lot of people either. They're going back again to have another turn, whereas when we actually naturally do that within ourselves by using the methods that we have been in the cellular and that sort of thing, the body is doing that naturally and will hold that frequency. Once that's happened, you're going to hold that, and the templates shifted, the DNA shifting. And once your DNA shifts, you're going to absolutely create wellness in the body. So, and them going back and having another turn and another turn, what it's going to do is it's going to start resetting each time to where they may find that, yes, now I'm going to hold this frequency. I've got myself used to that space. Now I can hold it longer and be it.
Beautiful.
So it's assisting, but I just see anything like that. Like, I've never used tools really. I've always just used my own energetic frequencies to shift out whatever and change whatever, like healing my toes, repairing the bones, my hips and knees playing up, so, well, what do we need to do? And
Yeah.
already, like, my legs were going out from my knees, they were coming out like that. My feet, I wasn't standing crooked on my feet, they were still like that, but my knees, like, they were coming out from underneath. And I would see myself in shop when I think, what the hell's going on? Like, it looked really weird. And I mentioned it to a couple of friends and they go, yeah, I've noticed it. I said, oh my God. So whatever was happening, but as soon as I made an intention to correct it, I'm now standing straight. And one of my good friends, she said, Mandy, you've done that thing with your leg. I said, I know, I have. And now I don't have pain in my knees and my I mean, you just work on yourself.
Yeah.
But an interesting, I have to just put this in here, an interesting thing last night, honestly, it was creepy. And it was just another thing to say, okay, you haven't got clear of this. So
Yeah.
yesterday I was talking with a friend and she asked about ex-husband. I said, yep, sweet as, finished. I feel like I've really cleared that now and I feel really free. It's taken me years and years and years and years. Anyway, and I've been on my own for 20 years, still working on all of that,
Wow.
So, I mean, it was we had many lifetimes of coming in as husband and wife, like all the time, every lifetime, basically. So we were very connected. Anyway, I said yesterday, and this comment was, yes, I feel really free. Last night was about 11:30 at night. And I went to the toilet and I'm sitting there with the door open and the manhole was just above in the little passageway into the toilet bathroom. And this bloody manhole was open. And I just freaked. Like, honestly, my whole body just went into this, oh my God, somebody's in the house. Like, is this? And Macy's asleep, my little granddaughter, 3-year-old, up in the room there. And I'm freaking. I just had this whole thing come over me. It was fear. And my daughter's out and her partner out in the sleep out, and I rung her and I said, did Liam shift the manhole at all when he came in tonight? And she said, Liam? And he said, no. Then more freaky, I was like, oh my God. Then I searched the house. I thought, right, search the house, under my bed and the wardrobes, every cupboard and every place that I thought a person could put themselves. I'm checking the house out. And my daughter comes in. I said, could Liam come in and check in the manhouse up in the roof and see if anybody's up there? There was no explanation other than spirit, right? That was the only thing I could think. There was no wind gusts. I've had heavy winds and it's never shifted. And it sort of locks, jams in a wee bit on the lip of it. So anyway, he comes in, checks as much as he could. And no, and by then I'd calmed down a bit and I said, look, I feel it's all good. I've checked everywhere. There's nobody in here. And all I did was I brought the dog and Bobby's dog in to sleep in the house that night with me, and she would alert me to anything if there was. But by that time, I didn't even feel like it was necessary for her to be here. Anyway, she did. And what I recognized, this is so weird, but what I recognized was in the moment, trauma. It just this PTSD that I'd had from when my ex-husband used to, he kidnapped kidnapped me, he held me hostage for 4 days, me and my daughter in the house. Then he kidnapped us, took us, and he was trying to get us out of town and take us away. And he told me he had a shotgun. It was out in the garden around the back. He just went berserker. He shaved his hair off. He went into this real old Viking berserker type state, and he nutted. And he'd done weird shit. He was creepy anyway before that. And so through my time with him, there was a lot of moments where I was in that terror. And this just triggered that. Oh my God. And I thought, oh my goodness, this was actually spirit, like myself, my spirit, doing that, just that, to trigger this, to remind me that actually you aren't free. You're not free yet. You've got this shit to look at.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really funny, not funny. Honestly, I was
Yeah,
creeped out. I
funny,
felt
not funny.
ill, like
Yeah.
sick. Ugh. But yeah, that was so random, so random. Like,
So what are
actually,
you going to do now, Mandy, with that?
oh, sit in and process it. So
Yeah.
I go into the cellular memory because part of the, there's so much horrific stuff happening. There's always been a lot of violence on the planet. We've been living hell on earth, and now we're bringing heaven to earth. So that's the big switch over. And this hell on earth has created so much trauma for a lot of people, in that terror of life threatening. And so that will go back. I'm sure I've got back, many medieval type of memories come up, all sorts of stuff. So I'll just track back and get the one that's really present, and then work with the one that's here today and connected to him still. But yeah, yuck.
Wow,
It was
that's huge.
crazy.
That would have been like,
Oh,
like
that was
right in. Yeah.
yeah. And it was funny. I was telling a friend, I said, "Oh my God, the creepiest thing just happened." And she's down clearing her mother's house who passed away. And anyway, she said, "Oh God, there's this thing on the wall." And I thought, God, I better check in the wardrobe and see if any water's come through there. And she said, "You've creeped me out so much, I can't even open the wardrobe door." It's like, right, we need to look at a bit of that terror in her too. But yeah, you know.
Oh, far out.
So those sorts of things will trigger those old memories and the old feeling states that you've had around those memories. They're the ones you need to look at. And this is what today is bringing up for everyone, is just shoving this up in your face. You've got to look in and see where it all triggers back to, and work on the emotion, clear the vessel, so that we can come into oneness with Gaia and this planet and this universal space that we're in within.
Oh, Mandy, what a juicy conversation today.
Yeah, wow.
It's been amazing. Thank you so much for your time and
Thank
for coming
you.
on with us. We've learned so much.
Yeah.
And
Beautiful.
yeah, and we appreciate your generosity with all the information that you've shared with us today.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you for inviting me. I love it every time. I just love it. And I
Yeah,
know
we
we'll
love
have
you
some
too.
great, conversations. So yeah, thank you for this platform and what you're doing as well, because, it's getting out there, eh?
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
beautiful.
Wow.
Mwah.
Okay, well, thank you everyone for watching. We'll see you next week.
Yes.
Maybe for another Ancient Mysteries. We'll see.
Mm.
Okay. Goodbye, everyone.
Thanks.